Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here, my favorite part of the show. I will give you an overview of Symposium, and we have a lot to cover. We are so proud to be able to bring to you a rare opportunity to have a global, a federal, and local law enforcement points of view all together. You're going to have a chance to ask questions as we are entering an era where security has become top of mind for just about anybody. Business, any type of organization, and also on your personal life, security has become so important. I'm going to share with you some industry trends like I've done in previous symposiums, and also the technologies that we're going to be covering this week so that you can take advantage and then bring it back to your different organizations. My normal question from every year, can you raise your hand? How many have come to our symposium before? Wow, thank you. It's clear that you see the value, so we always try to continue to do the same, and here we go. So last time we talked about digital transformation, and this is a mega trend that is basically going to last for quite a long time. It's impacting not just the business, not just our organizations, but it's also impacting society as we know it. I mentioned several examples like Uber, Airbnb, you know the drill. They continue to be very disruptive. There's practically no vertical, no market out there that is not being disrupted by digital transformation. But what is it that is triggering digital transformation? We are in a connected world. Even 10 years ago, right? Then we just had the 10th anniversary of the iPhone, right? And that's why they came out with a new iPhone X, which is really called iPhone 10. Only 10 years ago is when we started truly using those smartphone technology. Yes, we had the BlackBerry before, but that's truly when things started changing. So I'm gonna walk you through some statistics. Internet. I've been showing you these statistics for the last 3 years. And this year, this is just the most recent update of June 30th of this year. We are at 88.1% of the population in North America has access to the internet. So that's 320 million people just in North America. So 9 out of 10 use the internet right here in this country. Then we got social media. In 2016, we have 185 million US social network users. So that's about 60% of the US population. So you combine that, internet, social media, and then you got mobility. Out of those social media users, we got 87.1% of those who access social media via their mobile phones. So that's how we're so connected. And that's why that's triggering digital transformation is coming like a tsunami. And I know Lee will be familiar with this slide. But in essence, look at all those industries there, healthcare, energy. I talk about transportation with the Uber example. Last year, I mentioned, who knows about Uber Eats? Almost nobody raised their hand, right? It was just up and coming. This year, I'm gonna ask the question, how many know of Uber Eats in this room? Wow, so about 80% of you. How many of you have used Uber Eats? Okay, so not that many, but at least you're familiar with it. I know that my daughters use it all the time, and I learned it from my daughters even last year. But that's just another example how those type of digital businesses continue to evolve. But $2 trillion to be spent in IT in just the next couple of years, $2 trillion, that's massive. So what this means is digital transformation is a catalyst for change. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to your organization? Well, it means that you need to provide better customer experience. Otherwise, you may lose competitive advantage and your own customers may be shifting away. Like Uber started giving great customer experience, right? And the taxi industry was disrupted. So we need to think about those things. Also, the business model, we may need to be shifting it to adapt to the new way of doing business. For example, nowadays, instead of buying something for capital expense, now you buy a subscription or you go to the cloud and you pay per use, business models like that. And then you also have to optimize your operational process. And there's many, many tools out there. There's many technologies out there that are coming to market precisely to help organizations become more efficient. So you can see that's basically the directive, the catalyst for change. And that's because of the perfect storm that you see it there on the left side that I've been talking about: mobility, hybrid IT, the IoT, changing business models like service-centric, like I mentioned. In the past, you would have a project and you buy, equipment, and you would use equipment for 5 years and then refresh and so on and so forth. Nowadays, there's a lot of subscription-based options, pay-per-use. There's also flexible capacity that is becoming available now in the data center, and we have that representation here this week at the showcase. But also, it comes with the business pressures of needing to accelerate your go-to-market. If you don't do that, again, you lose competitive advantage. And very importantly, with all those changes come security vulnerabilities, because now you are in a hybrid world, and there's much more space for vulnerabilities. Now, this is cloud, so I talk about the internet, social media, and mobility. I hope you can see from the back. But in essence, the blue bar at the bottom represents today, and then the bar right next to it is in 2 years. So you can see the trend going towards public cloud, but at the same time, depending on the verticals, it truly is a hybrid world. I mean, we got on-premise, non-cloud, we got on-premise, private cloud, all the way up to cloud in the form of infrastructure as a service and also software as a service. So we truly, truly live in a hybrid world, and that's what we're here for. How do you navigate in a hybrid IT world? So those are the 3 themes for this year's symposium: hybrid IT, security, and the intelligent edge. So what is this thing, the hybrid IT? Well, we're using, in this case, the definition by our grant sponsor, HPE. We got core and fluid, that's on-premise, and then we got private cloud and public cloud. And basically what this means is that organizations are going to be using services across the spectrum. It's going to be fluid across all those 4 different types of compute, and you're going to be living in a hybrid delivery type of model. So at the showcase, we have an area that basically we're calling it the hybrid cloud journey, and it really represents what you just saw. We got core and fluid, which is literally the infrastructure that powers your hybrid cloud journey. And the first couple of stations, when you walk into the showcase, you really need to take a step back and think about your strategy as you're going to a hybrid cloud journey. You need to know what goes to the public cloud, what really should stay on-premise, what should go to SaaS, what should go to infrastructure as a service. What about a private cloud, right? What about my data privacy, my latency, my SLAs, and so on and so forth. So those 2 stations, we got them right there to have a conversation and walk you through your potential journey, and in essence, help you understand what is your right mix of hybrid IT. Just like you saw, core, fluid, private cloud, or public cloud, what is your right mix for your organization, which really is dependent upon your applications and your workloads. So for that journey on station 1 there, you can see that you have stages from 1 to 5. You pick the stage that your organization is targeting in the next year or the next 3 years. And then you go across domains where, I don't know if you can see from the back, but technical infrastructure and architecture is just one of the aspects. And there is governance, there is culture, there's processes, there's so many aspects that organizations need to take into account to have a successful journey, a successful hybrid cloud journey. And then all the pieces in the middle right there is what we encourage you to spend time in this particular hybrid cloud journey and learn how to be more successful as you're trying to go to your hybrid cloud journey. Okay? And then after that, I just mentioned it earlier, things are shifting from capital expense to operating expense. A lot of organizations like the cloud model. You basically pay for what you use. What if you had that capability or option for your on-premise equipment? So spend time on that station number 3 for flexible capacity conversations, and you'll be surprised of what you can achieve with basically like a subscription type of model. And then after you find out what your right mix is, what powers it? In this particular case, again, Hewlett-Packard as the grant sponsor, they have that whole area. And we're pretty proud to represent Nimble. We have a great keynote tomorrow. Nimble is an acquisition by HPE, as you know. They have cloud volumes, which as organizations are going to a multi-cloud type of approach, cloud volumes is a great option to keep your data in a central place that allows you to move, let's say, between Amazon and Azure without having to move data out of those clouds, which happens to be the most expensive part when you're trying to migrate out of a public cloud. So spend time on Nimble if you can. 3PAR is the enterprise storage. We got Gen 10. Gen 10 servers were announced recently, and we got the experts there. There's an ISS options subject matter expert. You're going to learn about persistent memory, scalable persistent memory, the latest Intel processors, and other options as well. SimpliVity is another acquisition by HPE, which is a hyper-convergence, and it truly is an amazing offering. So please spend time if you can. Synergy on composable infrastructure. We got some great demonstrations. OneView is what puts everything in a single pane of glass. And then HPE Complete is there to partner with additional technologies to augment solutions. And last but not least, part of that hybrid cloud journey is multi-cloud management and containers. So spend time there as people are walking towards Azure or Office 365. We got some expertise to help you there. But also, very important, and we're pretty excited about this project New Stack from HPE that was announced during the summer timeframe. But we just said it, right? People are going to Amazon, Azure, maybe even Google, but you still have many workloads that really make sense to keep on-premise. How do you manage all that? How do you make sense of all that? So I wanted to show you a quick snapshot. This product has not been released. It's called Project New Stack at this point, or Project Hybrid IT New Stack. And our next keynote will be saying a lot more about this. But I like this screenshot because right here, you cannot read it, but please spend time at that station number 12. You see Amazon, you see HPE private cloud, you see Google, and you see other clouds, and you can see where they're located on the planet, how many active clouds you have, how many providers, how many active users, and so on and so forth. And what I really like is in this next screenshot, that 26,968 number that you see there, that is your month-to-date consumption. But this includes on-premise. So now you're able to manage everything as a single business model that we've been talking about, like a subscription, pay-per-use. On that circle, the orange line represents Amazon Web Services, AWS. The green one is your private cloud. The blue one is Google Cloud Platform. So now you can manage all those different clouds and on-premise in a single pane of glass. That is really powerful. So I was really eager to show you this. So that's, again, on station number 12. You can spend some time there. We're covering convergence and hybrid cloud solutions across the board. So you can see multiple additional partners that definitely play in this area as well. So another statistic here, the Internet of Things. Back in 2010, they were predicting from IBM 1 trillion connected devices by 2015. That did not happen. And then there's many other predictions. The one that is looking like it's going to be a reality is the one by Gartner that is, we're going to have about 20.8 billion connected devices by 2020, which is basically in about 2+ years, right? We're almost in 2018. That's tremendous. So that's going to cause security vulnerabilities. We already have security vulnerabilities. What about the infrastructure, wirelessly or wired? There's a lot of challenges that come with IoT, but there's also opportunities to mine that data, right? We call it big data analytics. So please spend time at the Aruba corner. We are very fortunate to have the VP and General Manager giving a keynote tomorrow, Mr. Dr. Tom Braddock. And he basically owns the Intelligent Edge business unit for HPE. He will be talking about it, but we have great technologies to literally walk you through what about in IoTs, think of a refrigerator or a thermostat right in your building. And if that thermostat is talking to your HR server, you know, that's not supposed to be happening. So there's technologies out there that use artificial intelligence that can help you against those type of, malicious activity. So it's called user behavior analytics or device behavior analytics as well. So please spend time there as well. The network and the interconnects, you see several partners as well. We got Silver Peak for software-defined networks, and our friends from Brocade and Cavian, which is QLogic, or they acquired QLogic, and Broadcom, which acquired MLX. For data storage, backup, DR, and backup and DR as a service, we have great options for you. So we encourage to spend the quality time, but we believe that where you place your data is so important. And again, there's many, many options as you can see here. One that we're highlighting this year is Island, where they offer full backup as a service and DR as a service. And again, that's literally the cloud model. And they use technologies like Veeam and Zerto, and they provide very granular RPOs and RTOs as well. Rubrik and Cohesity are also up-and-coming players that connect your local backups to the cloud, and many other technologies like that. We also have Datacenter. Don't forget about the basics, the power, the cooling, the racks, even performance-optimized data centers with our friends from APC. They're going to be right there too. Application security and DevOps. Let's not forget about the software. Please spend time with Micro Focus. This has been a recent spin-off from HPE. I believe HPE still owns like 50% or 51% of Micro Focus. So they're going to be there ready to talk about how do you keep your applications secured, and also a lot about DevOps. Software-defined data center solutions. We have great representation with VMware. We're putting a special emphasis this year on NSX, network virtualization, and some great benefits with that technology. We're also touching on vSAN, and we have a great breakout session prepared for that as well, so please check it out. Let's not forget about HP, again, another spin-off from a couple of years ago. And they have some great technologies for the consumer space, also for the office. And there's a new thing called mixed reality. I'm hoping that they're going to have some more information to share. But we're entering a virtual reality type of world, and there's some really nice gadgets that you may be interested in. We have our Nth professional services. This year we got some comedians like we see at other conferences, and it's going to make it fun as they kind of walk you through how can we help you better, right? Let's just have that conversation, and don't miss it. It's going to be fun. Then we shift over to security. We have an entire area dedicated to security, and we are so proud that we're representing the most advanced technologies out there. The bad actors are becoming more sophisticated, as we know. We have so many more threats coming from nation states, from organized crime, you name it. So artificial intelligence and machine learning are coming to the forefront, And we got some great partner vendors that representing those technologies. And today, this morning, you're going to hear from the founder of Silence, who built their offering on artificial intelligence. It's going to be very, very interesting. Followed by the chief, I think it's chief strategy officer for Fortinet, who is also involved with Interpol. He's also going to be touching artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This is the latest breach report from Verizon. And the things to highlight here, 81% of hacking-related breaches related to stolen or weak passwords. We're talking about some of the basics here. This is fresh data. It just came out a few weeks ago. But these are the type of things that can be prevented. And there's great technologies. Please check out CyberArk. We can do a DNA assessment and actually tell you right away if you're actually vulnerable with weak passwords or privileged accounts. This is literally a screenshot from Gartner's website. And at this point, you might as well assume that you're compromised. What are you going to do about it? Right? This one, probably most people have not seen. What is some of the greatest threats to the United States? In this particular survey, it's pretty amazing. Cyber warfare is the #1 threat to the United States, and that's on top of terrorism and North Korea and on some of the other ones. This is at the beginning of the year, so it's not the latest of the latest, but that's quite interesting. And I believe Homeland Security Investigations, who's going to be keynoting after the break, is going to be talking more about the 5th dimension of human conflict, which is cyber warfare. That's really, really interesting. The cybersecurity spending is going up, like Dr. Dwayne likes to say. Look at that, $57 billion spent in 2016, and we expect that to go even higher in 2017. However, the number of data breaches are still rising. So if you only go back to the last year, 26.1% compared to 21.7% in 2016. The percentage of breaches into the organizations that were surveyed. But if they were breached at any time in the past, it's 67.8 versus 61.1. Again, those numbers continue to go up even though organizations are investing more in security. So regarding security, I wanted to highlight this. There is so much complexity, there's so much technology out there, but let's go back to the basics. And the CIS, Center for Internet Security, came out with these critical security controls, the top 20. Our Attorney General from California, that's what basically she commented. Somebody who follows those top 20 who does not follow those top 20 constitutes a lack of reasonable security. That means that if you get breached and you get sued and your court or your case gets to court, it's likely that you might be found guilty, right, for not using reasonable security. So I think it's a no-brainer that at a minimum, you go through those top 20 and then find out if you need to fill any gaps. We are offering this CIS top 20 assessment at complimentary, and that we can help you provide come up with a roadmap to make sure that you're at least meeting these requirements. Talking about assessments, for this particular year, we're putting a lot of emphasis on that because we believe in the power of using real data from your environment to see how technology can truly help you and not just talk about it, but actually do some real data collection tools. You can see the top 10 that we're offering there. We highlighted the CIS top 20 that I just talked about. Throughout the conference, if you text nth-simp to 878787, you're going to get a link back. You enter your email address and you get access to the surveys. Whatever breakout sessions you take, you're going to see an opportunity to take the surveys. In those surveys, you can specify, I'm interested in in whatever applicable assessment is being covered in those breakout sessions. We're trying to make it very easy to engage and hopefully provide additional value to you. And that's basically the summary. So thank you very much in many, many different languages. And we're very excited to have our next presenter to talk about hybrid IT.
All right, let's give Dan a big round of applause.